So you're trying to tell me that in Germany
I am trying to
there
tell.
is
I'm
nothing
literally
like
trying to
this?
tell you. I'm telling you. I am telling you. I was shocked. I was like, "Hey, I've wasted my parents' money. Oh, you could have saved those."
Wow. Welcome to another episode of Tales from Diaspora. Today's episode is one which I have been personally looking forward to. It's a guest who is an old friend of mine, and we go way back to secondary school back in Nigeria. Um, he graduated from the University of Dundee, Scotland, with an honours degree in electrical/electronics and has a master's degree in renewable energy development from Heriot-Watt University, Scotland. He is also a native of Nigeria, just like myself, but currently lives in Germany, where he works as a system architect engineer for the CMS multinational conglomerate. Back in secondary school, he was always known for bringing in the jokes, the typical class comedian. However, he is surprisingly very caring and always ready to help those in need. He is my good friend, Arinze. Stephen Onyeabo. Stephen. What's up with Stephen? I've never heard of Stephen, my guy. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, like, I only use like my two first names.
Yeah,
My full
yeah.
name, Arinze Onyeabo, and yeah, thank you so much for the fantastic introduction. Honestly, I wouldn't even have said it better.
Ah,
So
that's good.
yeah, honestly,
How have
yeah,
you been
I'm
doing?
glad to.
How have you been
Yeah,
doing? How's your weekend?
I'm fine. The weekend is great.
Mm-hmm.
Just resting. Normal work day week, and then you have the weekends. Either you're partying or you're resting. So I
I
guess
know.
I've rested
Yeah,
pretty
so
much.
yeah, it's true. We had like it's a crazy weekend. I had a friend's birthday yesterday. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, it was good. It was good. But then I understand how overwhelming it can be because then you have to wake up to today and all that.
Oh,
But
so you drank so much then,
yeah, not too much, but just enough. Just enough.
or just enough to get by.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I noticed. So in your part of your your description, you mentioned you did electrical electronics and also renewable energy. And that reminds me of a famous individual with the name of Elon Musk. Is there any
Oh,
inspiration from that guy? Because he's, in the same token, right? Trying to do something renewable
yeah,
and then
I
electronic.
know. Honestly, that guy, I don't even know if it's like the new era of a genius, and
Yeah,
the
he
guy is
is.
just he's really smart, and
Smart man.
he's doing great things, with electric cars and everything. I never
Mm.
really heard of him until a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
The thing was that generally, I always sort of like an engineer, kind of like repairing things, and
Mm.
always had this knack for electronics, and just really really wanted to go into it. So from a young age, so I think my dad really advised me to do
Mm.
electronics, and pretty much every aspect of engineering must have some electrical aspect or
Mm.
electronic aspect to it. So it's a good field, and with the way the world is with global
Mm.
warming and everything, it was only
Yeah,
wise I walked into that direction
that
of
direction.
renewable
Yeah,
energy.
renewable. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So would you say your parents were like a guidance towards that line of study, or was it just pure inspiration that drove you to this field?
Honestly, it's not pure inspiration. I would have been inspired to play just football. So my parents influenced my decision a bit. We had that conversation whereby I
Yeah.
was 16 years old, and I was like, I want to go try out for Man U or Arsenal or some team, and then
Good luck.
they're like, Nah, man, you should study. You should
Mm.
study. So you have a fallback plan, and I guess I mean they were right. I don't know. Maybe it might have worked out. Who knows?
Who
But
knows?
yeah,
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
yeah.
So you're in Germany now,
I'm in Germany now.
and how long have you been there in Germany for the viewers?
I think in February next year will be 2 years.
2 years.
So just under 2 years, I'd say. Yeah.
And how are you liking it? How does Germany feel?
I mean, it's 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 not been a walk in the park, I would say, to come here.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like, for every other expatriate or immigrant trying to leave his country and
Mm-hmm.
look for the greener pastures somewhere else, it's not always an easy work. You have to think about the bureaucracy, the applications, the culture, and all these things. And so it's crazy. It's crazy just trying to get here. But I mean, I would say it's a mixture of a good and bad experience. So but mostly good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. So overall, like the and how are you like coping with the language? Because obviously, I'm assuming they don't always speak English. So in Germany, so how is that faring out?
Actually, to be honest, when you ask a German, do you speak English? And he's like, no, I don't speak English. I can tell you for a fact that his English is probably better than yours. Honestly, they really speak good English here, and it's just maybe a few people they speak. Even the people that don't know how to speak some form of English. So it's not hard to get by. But yeah, they're very patriotic and also with their language as well.
Yeah.
So they want you to speak their language, and they would always approach you, and they speak German to you. They regardless of
yeah.
stepped into the country yesterday or today.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting you mentioned that, because obviously it would be easy to assume that Germany is a bilingual nation in some form, right?
Yeah.
Since they
they
tend to speak English a lot. Because in this, what you said makes sense, because I remember even while I was in school, all the Germans I met, had very, very fluent, English accent. You couldn't even tell where they were from. Like when I speak to some of my French mates, you can tell the accent of, I want to, there's that accent in the, in some of their vowels. But with, the Germans, their English was spot on. Maybe not exactly like, the Queen's English, like the way the British pronounce, but it was very, 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 very good. So, do you know if there's like a particular reason for this, like to make their nation very bilingual? Is there like a
I think you look back at the Second World War, obviously America and Britain crushing the Third Reich with Hitler and the rest, and it was sort of I think colonization, I would say, in a way. Because then when I say colonization, you kind of think of Africa.
Yeah.
And you think of what colonization happens in different ways, in different forms.
True.
And some of their words here are really closely related to the English language. So it's only anyway, the movies, movies, all these things, everything's in English. Even like programming languages are in English.
Yeah.
So it's
interesting.
It's a no-brainer,
I get, that makes sense. Yeah. But because because I'm just thinking, back in the this is probably for me who doesn't really have very adept knowledge in this field, but before the World War II and the whole Industrial Revolution, I think there was the Germans were very phenomenal in their designs of some of their machines and what they use, and some of them which were used in the war. So I would have assumed a lot of those schematics would be written in German, because obviously they invented it. So why would they write it in English, right? So maybe it's a thing of, and this is just me ballparking here. Like maybe it's just them thinking, trying to market themselves, and having English as a very core language helps them to get into the market space easier, or to communicate with the rest of the world, or something like that.
Honestly, that is pretty much it. And generally, my work everything is totally in German. Like even like the schematics or the documentation or even the technical words and everything. Yeah, it's all in German, and it's really difficult. But like at the end of the day, if you're trying to go international, English is pretty much everybody speaks English. So that's the only way to go. So yeah, I think so.
Wow, that's nice.
And I
That's not.
mean, Britain colonized pretty much half of the world. So yeah, if you check it,
Yeah,
they had their tentacles
yeah.
everywhere.
The empire really stretched. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm. Okay, so obviously you've been in Germany for 2 years, and
yeah,
you seem to be, in a good state of affairs. I know we've been
yeah,
talking prior to this, and you're always doing really well. So
yeah.
ask, so what was the main reason why you left Nigeria?
Nigeria. Okay, so hmm, that's a very interesting question. I don't even know where to start. So, but we would start from, I think after my undergraduate, I came back to Nigeria, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
being highly educated from one of the best schools in the world, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I came back to Nigeria to look for a job, and you kind of see some discrepancies, with what your colleagues or your mates are earning over in the Western world and you're earning there in Nigeria. And then you kind of see like there's a lot of, you kind of get a culture shock, when
Mm.
you come back to Nigeria after like even just doing undergraduate, you
Yeah,
kind of see a lot of things that don't work. You're trying to like,
it's true.
fix these things, or you're trying to like complain, or even like the work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to like speak about it, and people are just shutting you down. People are just
Mm.
telling you this, or this is not how we operate here, or
Yeah.
just
You
telling you all
seem to
kinds
not
of
have a
stuff. So
voice, right? Like
yeah,
in
you
in,
don't
in a
have
lot
a
of the
voice,
workplaces.
and you kind of understand that that's the system, and if it's working for them, then who are you to say otherwise?
Yeah.
So I had a few jobs, worked for the Nigerian Electricity Management Service Agency,
Mm-hmm.
where we were monitoring the electrical distributions, and then I went on to work for Indomie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta love that
which
nice
was
Indomie. That used
it
to be my
was
best food for
actually,
a while.
yeah,
Yeah, I love that food.
actually, like I remember like every like I think quarter we used to get like 10 boxes of Indomie and
Jesus.
some other product they made, and it was kind of
You
nice.
never
And
referred me to this company, man. Like, holy
honestly,
mo.
I don't even know whether you were in Port Harcourt that time. I
Yeah,
was
I
in Port Harcourt.
was. I
Yeah,
was in Port Harcourt. Yeah, it
really.
was.
The time I was working in Indomie,
I was in Port Harcourt. I think. What year was this?
I think 2016,
2000.
2017 maybe.
2016. I had just. I think I just gotten my job. So I started working at my job in 2016 February,
Mm-hmm.
and then I worked there till the end of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2017
No.
December. That's when I quit, and then February of 2018 I moved to Canada.
Oh.
So yeah. So
Okay.
I was working in Port Harcourt.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know why I think I was in Port Harcourt for like 3 months. I got posted there
Mm-hmm.
to work there for like 3 months, and then posted to Kaduna. Got posted to Lagos. I think
Mm-hmm.
Lagos was like my, I was in Lagos working, and
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot from Indomie. Although, the pay wasn't what I expected, but there was a lot I learned, and it was like hands-on. Like you really had to
Yeah.
like learn a lot, and yeah. And then I decided, after a while that I think it was time for my master's. I gathered some work experience.
Mm-hmm.
I knew myself a little more better, that I should focus on something I wanted to do, and increase my educational qualification. And
Mm.
so I decided to go to University of Heriot Watt in Orkney, their campus in Orkney, which is also back in the
Orkney.
UK.
Orkney.
And then
Oh, Putney.
Orkney,
Ork-
Orkney, not Putney, Orkney.
how do you spell that?
O R
ORK.
yeah, N
ORK.
Y N
L
E Y
LEY.
N
Orkley.
N N
NEY.
Orkney.
Orkney.
Yeah,
Okay. Orkney.
yeah,
Wow.
Orkney. Yeah,
Orkney.
yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it was a it was a small island actually, and the thing was that like
Orkney.
I decided to go there because I was watching a Netflix show,
Hmm.
and this Netflix show is called Islands of the Future,
Islands of the
and
Future. Okay.
Islands of the Future, and this crazy part about this Orkney place was that apparently they generate all their whole energy. This whole island generates all of its energy through renewable energy systems.
Mm.
So, I was like, wow. And, apparently they developed those systems, some of those systems themselves. So, which was very interesting. I was like, yo, I really want to go into renewable energy. I hope these people have like a school or something like that. And after the Netflix episode, I was like, yo, I'm going to check it up. So I went, I found out that the school was there. So I applied. And I think it was like a week later or some days later, like I got accepted. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to Orkney.
That's nice. Wow.
Yeah. So I found myself in Orkney. And then going back to your question. So after my master's, they had the situation with Brexit, and things were uncertain about anybody with some immigration background, and was trying to find a bearing, and obviously Germany was renewable energy, and the girl I was seeing was from there. So we kind of like looked at it, and considering we were obviously in a long distance relationship, we kind of looked at it and said, I should apply to Germany and give a shot. So I started to apply to some jobs, started to get interviews, and then I was like, okay, maybe I should apply for some kind of visa to come to Germany. And then there's this visa you can apply for even if you're Nigerian, which does not apply to all.
Yeah, it doesn't apply to all, of course.
It's called a job seeker's visa, and if you have a certain amount of money, you can come to Germany for 6 months and try your luck to find a job.
Try your luck. Wow.
To find a job. And this is what I did. I came to Germany for 6 months, tried my luck, and God willing, God was faithful, and I got a job. So
Jesus.
Yeah.
So
6
months. So
a
you
lot
must.
A lot of Nigerians don't know this, or a lot of people don't know this. Like, there's something called the job seekers visa. Yeah.
Wow. So that means that you must have been applying for jobs and doing a lot of interviews just to make sure that.
I was applying for jobs. I was learning the language, like increasing my chances, obviously to get a job. So got a couple of interviews, and then Corona struck. Bang.
Of course.
There was nothing. I didn't get any interviews anymore, and companies were scared to recruit.
Yeah,
and this was the problem. So I faced a couple of setbacks, but
that sounds like a huge one, but I mean, at the end of the day, you got the job, which was which is really nice. And I remember we talked about this and how it was a little odd for you too, right? Because then you had to work from home at some point, and all that
stuff. I'm still working from home.
Still working from home, even So happy for you, man. That's a very tough decision, and I think a lot of people don't understand the impact, right, of making what this type of decisions can mean to people, right? Because you had to you had a job in Nigeria. It's not like you were doing a lot more than 70% of the nation at least were doing.
Of course.
You were working in an international company, company that's in charge of Indomie, and obviously it's a lot of experience, a very wealthy company, and but I think that's what struck me when you mentioned, the nation was just not. It's like there was this difference in what your expectation of what the workplace would be like and what you were seeing. And I think this is the same thing that occurred to me, and the reason why I left as well, because I remember I got into the workforce. It was a nice place. And I'm telling you, this workplace was phenomenal. It was so good. They used to. It was called Ocean Marine Solutions, but but at the same time they had this they had a subsidiary where I worked for, which was called which was PPP Fluid Mechanics Limited. Do not ask me what the first 3 P's mean, because even today I don't think anyone who works there knows. So, but it was basically acquired from some other, the parent company bought it from another. So I don't think they really knew what it was, and
Right.
probably only the owners know at this point.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But
Yeah.
anyway, I worked there, and it was a amazing place to work. You know, very very hard. You know, like very difficult to work there, because you know we were working Mondays to Saturdays, and they occasionally called me on Sundays to the office. So it was very very brutal. I used to go back home very late at night. You know,
But you were earning that money.
yeah,
so,
it was good money, but it was good money. It was good. We used to have lunch. We used to have lunch on Saturdays. You know, it was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, not
but
lunch
they
on Saturday. We used to have
recommend
lunch every day. Like they had lunch that we collect, and we weren't paying for it, nothing like that. So it's really good.
Or you
And
took their pound of flesh back.
exactly right. So you got to earn that. So it was tough, very tough, but it taught me a lot of grit, right? Like how to be more
Yeah.
determined, because things don't
Yeah.
come easy. How you have to push yourself. Because I always compared myself to a lot of my mates, and some of my mates were doing better than I was, and some were not doing as well. Like overall, and
Yeah.
I'm not just talking financially. I mean even like the environment and things like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was really hard to see. And I think part of that was
to be grateful,
yeah, I
We're
was
trying to
grateful,
be
but
grateful
at
that,
the same time, it didn't make any sense to me, because a lot of these people, they go to school, right, and they do
they're
really
just like
well.
you.
Exactly,
like you.
just like me. Some
Yeah.
even better than me, right? And
Of
they
course.
would work so hard and everything. And at the end of the day, they can't find any jobs. I was kind of fortunate
Yeah.
because I knew some of the people who worked there. So
Yeah.
through connections, I was able to, and of course I had a good performance in school. But it was just a sorry sight. It's like there's no one employing people really hard. Even for me, it was really hard to get a job. Like I applied to
get a
multiple
job, yeah.
places that I even knew the people directly, and there was just nothing.
It's crazy.
It was really really hard. And
Crazy.
so yeah, like a lot of it's really hard back home. And but I think the main reason why I left was just because it didn't seem like it seemed like it was getting worse. And I think at this point now it probably is.
Yeah.
It was getting really bad, and I felt I wanted to be there was a way of life, like you said, like you mentioned when you were working there,
Yeah.
just the way things were being done. And it did, like,
Yeah.
what I learned growing up, from a lot of private institutions, and how, because a lot
Yeah.
of our private institutions, followed the pattern of Western Western cultures. And so
Yeah.
when I'm like seeing this whole dynamic in the workplace that just doesn't match with what I'm used to learning, and then I went, I schooled abroad, and then I come back, and
Kind of like, yeah.
it's like it doesn't match. And so, and it seems like I want to make a change, but it's like no one really cares. There's like
Yeah,
it's like you
they
can't
don't- they
even.
don't care.
You know what I mean?
Because even just hold the thought there. Because even growing up, I think for us growing up, we're very privileged kids.
Yes,
because
we
you
were.
have to say it.
True.
We came from a bubble, a sheltered bubble.
Yep.
That's what I always called it. We're shielded from a lot of things that were the norm in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And then when you come back, when you leave straight from secondary school and you go abroad. If which was our case, we left from secondary school.
Yeah.
We went abroad, and then we came back fully grown, and now we are aware of a lot of things, and we can now get out of that bubble. We get out of the bubble, and then we kind of like see things. You kind of get like this culture shock from even being in your own
I mean,
country. You see the way the things work, and coming from a first world country, then you can say, okay, actually things can be better. How about let's
let's make things better, right?
And then people are not ready to accept that. People are saying, oh, that's the way it is, why come and try to change things? And
Yeah, the typical "it is what it is" moments, and
it is what it is. And,
and I think that's part of what really upset me too. Like the way people just there's a lot of, and I don't blame them, because at the end of the day,
honestly,
what
it's true.
I can't
It's
really I didn't go through what a lot of them went through, and
I mean, on the higher level, we keep on producing the same recycled politicians over and over again.
yeah, you know,
How do you do the same thing and then expect things to change?
to
Albert
change.
Einstein, madness.
Oh,
do the same thing.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
So, like, yeah.
Oh,
So
I hear you.
that.
I hear you. So, so now you're there in Germany.
Yeah.
Are you is there plans for obviously I don't know, and I know your dad is probably someone who's settled in Nigeria now, but is there any plan
Yeah.
for your siblings or something to move to Germany with you,
No.
or no?
Actually, I'm the last kid.
Yeah.
So I don't think I have anybody that is waiting to move, but I have a couple of cousins, and I
Okay.
try to talk to them. And hey man, like I know you guys are in Nigeria, but how about you try your luck here?
Yeah.
And the case is that Germany is quite open to immigration, and
Hmm.
this I would like to even explain further. You think about the UK.
Hmm.
When Nigeria thinks about going abroad, let's think typical Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going abroad. The place they're going to ask you, where are you going to? Are you going to America or Great Britain
Mm.
or Canada?
Yeah.
Canada
Canada.
is nice, but it's too cold. They hit you with that. They don't really think about this. There are other countries, obviously,
Mm.
and when you think about Germany, these three countries I mentioned, they're amazing countries, but they're so expensive when it comes to education. You're going to pay, like in the UK, a year costs like 20 grand pounds. In Canada, it's around the same ballpark number, and in America, exactly. But do you know in Germany, education is free, even for foreigners?
What? So
It's interesting.
so even for like, are you talking about just high school, or is this university included?
In fact, let's even start from kindergarten. From kindergarten
Okay.
to high school to university to even PhD level, education is free, and all you need to do as a foreigner is
PhD.
PhD. If you just, they even pay you. You get PhD funds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all you need to do as a foreigner is just to prove that you can actually pay for your living. You can actually support yourself, and that's it.
Okay.
That's literally it.
Okay, there must be a catch, because just
There
like
is no catch whatsoever.
okay,
You don't know this.
I'm gonna say this because over in
So,
in the UK, for example, right? You don't pay your tuition all through high school up until you get to the university, and then you start to pay. In Canada,
or you take a student loan.
or you take a student loan. In Canada is likewise, right? You can take they give you this depending on the situation of your family, you can get grants where you don't have to pay back. That's in Canada. Or you get the student loan that you have to pay back over a period of time, which I can't remember the body. I think it's the OSAP or something like that. But they you have to pay it when you start working. You start to pay the money back over a period of time. Basically, student debt, which is one of the most terrifying things for students in this day and age. So you're trying to tell me that in Germany,
I am trying to.
There is nothing like this.
I'm telling you. I was shocked. I was like, hey, I've wasted my parents' money. You could have saved, dude.
wow.
And the scary part is that people kind of like look at Germany, like, even when I said to my parents, hey, I think I'm going to go to Germany to work.
Yeah.
Like, aren't those people racist? Aren't they Nazis?
You see, okay. I'll pause you there for now, because this is a question I was going to ask you, because I'm not going to be ignorant and just assume Germany is just all racist, right? Okay, because I've been privileged enough to at least see a few Germans who I think are phenomenal people. However, I have had a very bad experience when I was moving my family, my siblings, my younger sister, my younger brother, and we were transiting through Germany to go back home from the UK. and it was. I did not enjoy the reception. I think there was snide remarks that we received, and we were snubbed a couple of times. I don't know what it was, but it was the first time I ever transited through Germany. First time I ever was on German soil, and I felt I wasn't even trying to stay there, and I felt like I was never supposed to be there. You know what I mean? Like, to be there in the first place. I don't know if you ever got that vibe when you got there, but for me, that's what I felt, and that got me thinking. These things people say about Germany, and people still think they're like the Nazis in some way, But I don't believe that's the case. But after having that experience, and I think I still have that post on my Instagram, how I still depict that particular airport as one of a very bad moments in my life. This is I can't remember the name, but I know it was
Frankfurt.
It's probably Frankfurt, because I use Lufthansa.
Yeah, it's probably Frankfurt.
Yeah, I did not enjoy that experience. I think I was there with you one time. I think so.
Oh yeah, you were.
Yeah, but I think obviously I didn't get the same experience then, because you're pretty much German, and you speak the language, and all of a sudden you're like, he's one of us.
A little bit of the language.
A little bit. Okay, but anyway, they hear you and you're like, this guy is one of us. Yeah, he's okay. But anyway, my experience in general was not very pleasant. Maybe the staff was just not in a good mood. I don't know. But so what do you is that, have you ever had that kind of experience, or this is just something?
Actually, the fact that we all know that racism exists, and it exists in all different forms and manners, and and it's sad that obviously you got this experience in Germany, and this is not it's not across the board.
Of course,
I'll put it like this. And yes, I have experienced my fair share of racist people here in Germany, and you can imagine, like, I can tell you a situation whereby after a night out, drinking, I decided to go to McDonald's because it was open, and just get something to eat, so that your hangover the next day is not so bad. So I walk in there with my Scottish friend. It was this German guy, and he looks at us and then he goes, you guys look dangerous. And like, okay. And I was like, why do we look just generally, why do we look dangerous? And he was like, no, it's just there's something look about you, especially you. He points at me. And I'm like, oh, is it? And then my Scottish friend goes to guy, is it because he's black? And he's like, no, like, I don't know, there's something really dangerous about you guys. And then he immediately calls, this is when they talk about weaponizing the police or the security. He immediately calls the security to kick us out, just on look alone,
And were you the only black person in that vicinity?
We were the only 3 people. So this guy and me and my friend were just this 3 people in McDonald's, because we were a couple of minutes before they closed. This was like 5 a.m. in the morning, and he gets the security to like try to kick us out. He's talking to the security in German, trying to get the
and this guy works there, or
he's in gefährlich, trying to no, I don't know, he doesn't work there.
Okay,
he's just a customer like us. And then he's trying to get us kicked out. That
is phenomenal.
Just out of the, and I even know whether that even counts as racism or anything, but like, and then the security guy goes, actually, no, you should go, because I seen this guys coming and they said hi to me and everything, and they're just trying to order food. And so this security, who is probably from Germany as well, tells him to, like, get lost. Like, you can't
get out of here. Get out of here.
So at the end of the day, I was faced with some discrimination, and then again, somebody else like corrected that behavior. So it was sad in your situation that there was nobody there to, like, say, hey, don't do this or don't do that. And I can tell you, it's not, across the board. We've all in some, maybe you face racism in Canada. I don't know.
Oh, I have, and that's ironic because people always have a lot of good things to say about Canada, and I do. I think Canada is an amazing place,
Yeah.
When it comes to the people, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say the weather is not exactly pleasant,
But
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 the people.
also, you said maybe you didn't feel welcome.
Uh,
Germans are known to be stiff, though.
I see. Maybe
So they're
that's
not the most,
yeah,
kind of like, how Americans like, oh my God, you're
yeah,
gonna be my best friend now. Like this really, for me, it's a bit superficial. Like,
yeah. To a certain degree, yeah.
Germans, it takes a while for them
To warm
to
up to
really
you,
warm up to you,
yeah.
and when they do, they're actually your friends.
I
You
see,
know,
I see.
yeah, honestly, it takes a while. When I started to make friends here, I was like, oh, why can't we just be friends immediately? And
Mm,
it took a while, and then you kind of like get
mm,
that genuine friendship from them, and
I
this is
see.
I really appreciate it about them. Like if I call my German friend and be like, hey, can you help me with this? And for a fact that he's got your back.
I see.
I don't know.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
That's nice. That's nice. I mean,
yeah, they're lovely people.
yeah. Obviously, yeah. In as much as we talk about racism, I do believe that
Yeah,
it's not everyone. Obviously,
yeah,
I have a lot of friends who are genuinely good people and just
yeah,
want to help out where they can, just like your friends.
yeah,
Um, it's obviously, like I said, we're talking about stereotypes, and it
yeah,
just occurred to me that I didn't have this stereotype at first, and then I go there, and that's the first thing I'm
yeah.
greeted with, and I'm
Okay.
like, yeah, they're probably right,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so, but I'm happy though that things are not the way I was, because
yeah.
I was always wondering like, how are you, coping over there? You know what I
Coping
mean?
with
Like,
that,
with all that.
honestly, even my parents ask me the same questions, like, "Oh, how are you coping with these people that their forefathers were Nazis?" And
Yeah,
but I try to explain to them, like, the world is fast evolving and the world's
true.
becoming a global village. If you have this mindset of
Yeah,
hate, and you're not gonna go
you're not
far,
gonna
like
go
people
far.
would really distance themselves from you, like.
Hmm.
And people, I know a lot of people that don't want to even interact with,
Hmm.
people that have like even a slight hint of racism. Just be like, no, please. And it's actually a disgusting behavior, I'd say. Like, why
Yeah,
hate? Why?
yeah,
Doesn't
that's cool.
doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
I feel you. So before now you were talking about how your current girlfriend is German.
Yeah.
Obviously
Yeah.
that's if you're from where we're from, there will usually
Yeah.
be like talks of oh, how is that, there's always that question of how are you guys able to relate, based on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
where she's from. So how has that been regarding your family and her family or friends or things like that? Has there been any awkward moments, or it's just been accepting? Everyone is just like, yeah, this is
Yeah, yeah,
normal. This is
yeah.
fine.
Oh yeah, this is normal. Like,
Yeah.
actually, there's always gonna be that's I'd say cultural difference.
Hmm.
When you're actually, the funny part is that I met her in Nigeria. So
Oh yeah, that is true.
I think it sort of like makes it a bit better.
I guess. Yeah.
No, because she wasn't living in Nigeria. She was working for like a German cooperation with the German government. Kind of.
Okay.
I don't know. Some mixture with.
But they basically had a
Yeah,
base in
yeah,
Nigeria,
Nigeria,
right? Hmm.
and yeah, and she was working there, and yeah, we met through a mutual friend, and
Hmm.
and we started seeing each other, and with the whole, also when I moved over to like the UK, it was a
Hmm.
long distance relationship, and things going there, and my parents asking questions and her parents asking questions,
Typical.
and her parents are the most lovely people I've met. Like,
Hmm.
honestly, they're super super nice to me, and they also were working in Sudan as well,
Yeah.
so they had
Sudan.
yeah,
So
so
they
they
kind of
that's like,
understand. So,
so
yeah.
they understand. They really understand.
Yeah.
They're really welcoming, and
That's nice.
so yeah.
That's
So
nice.
there's a lot of
Beautiful.
cultural differences, but you just have to bridge the gap
That
between
is true.
these things and get it
That
done.
is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy for you guys. Happy for you guys.
Okay.
So now I guess the question would be: does she is she? Does she? Okay. Does she cook a lot of any of the Nigerian meals for you? Has she learned anything, or have you learned any German delicacies for her to make, to try to impress each other?
To be honest, I don't even know. I have to think about this. I've tried my hand on a few German foods, but they didn't turn out well. I would say.
What would be a typical German delicacy? Because I have no idea of any.
If I told you the names, you wouldn't even know. You would probably have to Google it.
I've heard of schnitzel.
Oh yeah, okay.
Schnitzel's German.
So,
I know that
schnitzel
one.
Is German. Schnitzel is like. It's like.
By the way, there are a lot of Germans here, right? So a lot of like German ancestry, like people from Germany that moved a long time ago during the Industrial Revolution. So there's a lot of that culture that they brought over here. There's a lot of Bavarian like restaurants. Yeah, it's a lot of streets named after German places too. Yeah, especially where I am, Kitchener. Kitchener used to be a hub for Germans.
That's a German name.
Yeah, Kitchener, right? Yeah, exactly. It used to be a German hub back in the day. So yeah.
Wow.
So that's why I heard of schnitzel, because wherever I go to, that's what they're like. Oh yes, and it's amazing. I love it. I don't know about you.
It's actually good. Like
yeah,
I enjoy it.
Like, I like it.
I've not really like dabbled in like German food, or I think with time, also like I think their food is not so far away from like their meat eaters.
Yes,
so,
which I like. I like that.
Which is also like, honestly, you would go to like I tell you, one of these festivals, Oktoberfest.
They do that here too. They celebrate that here.
Which is pretty much beer
all day and meat.
And all the meat you can get, honestly.
Wow.
And just drinking and singing.
Yeah, singing. Yep.
German Schlager.
Yeah.
Schlager music.
I went to one Oktoberfest. There's a place just down the street from my house. In fact, literally opposite my street. There's a huge, they have this huge venue, and every
Did you have one of those?
No, I just took a bottle of beer and just drank, and I literally, I just walked alone in there, right? I saw a lot of cars. I was just like, I'm just gonna go check it out, and it was nice. I didn't know anyone, so. But they have a good time. They know how to have a good time. So.
Yeah, they do know how to have a good time, honestly, and they enjoy themselves. Like, I mean, there's a lot of drinking. I don't know if you could like go on like YouTube and like you search like Oktoberfest Munich, especially in the city I live in. Like, man, it's like crazy. Like, you see people like Munich. Going up and still drinking.
That I don't know why.
It's amazing. Wow. Yeah.
That's nice.
And actually, I think I read a study that shows like the most babies get conceived. Those German babies get conceived during this period.
It's funny.
9 months after October.
9 months after October would
be like in
my math is kind of bad. May, June.
Yeah, May, June. So
I mean, it's kind of expected. It's a huge party,
He mix alcohol with a couple of pretty people, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. So
actually, what I wanted to ask you is
sure.
Is there like I know obviously you live in Canada now, and is there like a proper like Canadian dish,
Oh, probably the wrong.
Like a really authentic Canadian dish. I don't know what like who's Canada, like what's Canada?
You see, the thing with Canada is like a mixture of a lot of different traditions, right? Because it's a country that was made up, kind of like the US, made up of immigrants, but Canada is one that was really made up of immigrants, right? Because they had first of all, you had the natives, and then at some point the French came in and they fought over land with the natives, and eventually they took over the area which is known as Quebec today. Okay. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but then some years later, while there was some sort of understanding between the French and the natives, the
Yeah.
British came along, right? And
Yeah.
they also saw the land which the natives were in and which the French were in as well. And so they fought with the French over the land.
Oh,
And literally,
I like how you put fought.
yeah, they because they had to fight with them, right? Because they want, it's all about territory, right?
I mean, it's more like stealing the land.
Yeah, it's. I mean, but then again, you people can argue that the French stole the land at first, and then so, it's kind of like stealing from a thief. If that makes any sense, I don't know.
Yeah, kind of.
If that makes any sense, I guess. So they came, and then they so the French actually tried to ward off the British with the combined effort of the natives, but obviously it seemed like the British were just a lot more advanced in their military tactics or whatever, but they eventually won the battle. But one thing I loved about the understanding between the two, and I think it was probably because the British did not want to continue this fight with France, because obviously if they had kicked out the French there, it probably would have caused an everlasting quarrel between both countries, who are obviously very strong in military capacity and also technology. So it was a way which I think was pretty smart on their part, was to kind of create this bond where they would then share the nation in some form. So from there were a lot of obviously a lot of, because now you have two different countries creating policies, right? So there was this more, it was less narrow-minded and less it was more open. So their policies are a lot more open than most, because they're very they both understand what it means to move to immigrate, because they've both parties have done so, and some have figured out a way to live together amicably, which is definitely something to consider, considering their neighbors in the US had had a feud with the British, and the British had to leave. So
of course,
so in this case, the French didn't have to leave. It was more like an understanding between the two, and so there's that. It's more of a understanding place, and so there's that huge amount of different cultures in there. You have like I said, I mentioned Germans earlier. You have some Italians that moved in back in the day. Different European, Irish. A lot of Irish. I think Italians not so much. I think it was more of Irish actually, but there was that huge immigration that happened. I think around that industrialization period, and then they grew. And I think even before that, there's always been people moving either to try to develop the area, and so they've been very appreciated. And of course, because they've given more to the natives than I think the US did, right? So there's more. In fact, there's places that are still like named after the natives. Like states, and not just that, but also the traditions are kept. They have their own. They've brought them into the system of politics and things like that. So they have their own kind of elections, and they do it their own way in their own province, and it's obviously they've had a bad history with the natives, and it's not something I can ignore. But I think they've done, they're making efforts to try to try to make things better between the relationship between them and the natives, which I think is a really good thing. Overall, just Canada is a very nice place. So that's why when it comes to the food, there's just a lot of different things. Like
now, the native. Have you actually tried it?
Yeah, the native food. No. If I'm gonna have to eat that, I probably have to know someone.
Like a restaurant or something. Oh.
Yeah, they may have restaurants. I probably haven't looked around, for like native meal. If that makes sense. I'm not someone that goes around looking for native food. I usually just eat my.
Do you know? I remember it's somebody in our set's birthday today.
Oh! I remember. I know who's the person. I know who the person is. Probably not gonna say the name on the show, but I know we both know who the person is. And if the person's watching, they know. They know.
Happy birthday! Anyway, I give you a good shout out from here. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday. Mm.
You get into trouble if you didn't say happy birthday.
I guess. Um, so it's good that you've settled in Germany and all seems to be going well. What are your future plans? Now that you're in, now that you've settled in, you planning to stay for the long haul, or?
Honestly, I think, to be honest with you, is in all sincerity, I feel like I'm always gonna be like a second class citizen wherever I go.
I feel you.
So even if I decide to go to America or go to China or wherever, even in Africa, you try to go to South Africa, you want to live there, you're not going to be a native of the place, or you weren't born there,
it's true,
or you haven't grown up there, and you're only going to know one place, and which is home. And
it's true.
For me, when I think about my future, I think about everything. It all points down to Nigeria, and the sad part is that it's either we're gonna run away from those problems there, or we're gonna try to fix it. And and I know, of course, fixing it might cost us our lives.
That's not as easy said than done.
Yeah.
Tell you that.
Yeah, that's the sad part of it. And this is how I feel. I feel like I'm here I feel like when I'm here for for the time being, to gain knowledge, to gain experience, to get better and get knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But I feel that my destiny or whatever life I have lies in Nigeria, and at some point I am going to go back. And that's where I call home, and that's my home. And we must set it straight. And the people that run us in that country right now are running the country into the ground. And we must do something, change it. Because I look back and I remember I was in high school, and I asked my father, I said, why is this country so bad? Why is everything so bad? Because me and my father actually got into a big argument. I remember when I came back from my bachelor's program, and I was looking for a job, and and every day he would see me in the house, and I'm living with him, and I was how old then, 22 or 23, or still a young man. And he would blast me, and he would say, oh, when I was my time, I'd really, I had a good paying job and everything, and and this and that. He's telling me this story. So every day I was getting berated by him, and then one day I decided to really engage him. I said, oh, so how did you get this job? He told me, oh, the government gave people that had gone to school jobs, working in the government. And I was like, so what else did they give you, And he was like, yeah, they gave us a car and they gave us a house, And this was grade level 9. So grade level 9 in Nigerian civil service is like pretty much starting level of, if you're educated. I think it's grade level, I don't know, I think it's grade level either 8 or something, maybe, but he was starting off, and he was given a car, he was given a house. So, and then I said to him, then asked him, right now, in our current situation, is there a job right now that would I get employed? I'm not even talking about the government, I'm talking about private sector Nigeria. I'll get employed, and I'll be given an accommodation, and I'll be given a car. I looked at him, and he said no. I said, then your generation messed up our country. The generation did not do well for our country. And he goes, oh yeah, it's my generation, but I had nothing to do with it. I said, you had everything to do with it, because the good people like you kept quiet and did nothing while the bad people ran the country to the ground. And for me, not coming back to Nigeria, this is, for me, that's eating my own words, and for me, it's critical for me to play my part. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back. I don't know how to effect change. I don't even know A from B. But as long as you have a good heart and you know where you're supposed to be, and you're going to try as much as possible to do things, even look at a case of Dora Akunyele. God rest her soul. Where there was so many fake drugs in Nigeria. Like Aba was producing, and in Lagos they were producing so many fake drugs and everything. And this woman put her life on the line to this woman changed that industry, that NAFDAC, that government agency into, crush so many fake drug producers, put people behind bars and everything. That woman almost got at least killed 3 times in her life. And unfortunately, cancer had taken her life, taken her away from us. But, and just even the other day, sorry, I'm like spiraling.
Oh, dude, it's all good, man.
It's just stuff I have to get off my chest.
Yeah.
The other day, her husband got killed.
Yeah.
In Anambra State.
So I heard.
And people blaming, IPOB or blaming.
Yeah.
I don't even know. But it's sad, and this people, that family is, for me, it's a national treasure. The people that in amidst things going wrong, they did the right thing. You know what I mean? It's so easy to just play along, but they said no, we're gonna go the opposite way.
Yeah.
Do the right thing.
It's funny you say that, because I made a post today, and I was basically saying, and this is something my girlfriend told me, basically saying that if it is a lot easy to do bad, than it is to do good. And as simple as that statement is, I don't think people really understand what that means, Like some people may just bring up frivolous things and try to counter the argument, but it's not really an argument. It's more like a stated fact. Sometimes being lazy is the easiest thing you can possibly do. Just slouch and not do anything, right? But it's extremely bad. And then to get up and make a name for yourself is practically the hardest thing you can ever do. You understand? But it's the best thing you can ever do, right? To make sure that your peers around you, legacy, living something that people can look at you and be like, this person
this money
did well,
They don't take it into the afterlife. What are you doing with all that money, bro?
It's I think a lot of the issues with that country right now, it's probably the fact that things are extremely terrible. And so what happens is a lot of these folks create a form of cabal, right?
Yeah.
And then what they do in order to ensure that the cycle continues is they fortify this cabal as much as they can and program its members to think a certain type of way so that the status quo can remain the same at the expense of the common people. Now, what I don't like is the fact that the common people have been kept occupied, in my opinion. And whether people want to believe it or not, they've been kept occupied either by the level of distress, the insecurity issues, or the poor road networks, or the lack of, constant electricity, which prevents you from actually getting things done. So you're so bombarded with a lot of problems that you're too preoccupied to even think of worrying about the government when you can't barely get food on your plate.
When you know what I mean?
And then
when you're eating from hand to mouth.
And then a lot of these what they call men of God, they perform the tip of the iceberg, right? They the final piece to that perfect corruption machine, where they sell the people false hope, right?
Yeah.
So the people, in as much as they're already struggling with their day-to-day activities, in order to make sure that they never look up to the people who are actually responsible for the issues, right? They sell them the idea that your problems are going to be solved by just you doing something about it. But if you just sit patiently and wait, right?
And pray,
right? And fast and shout and come to church every day instead of actually performing an actual activity on the ground to make something work. Yeah. You spend all those hours in a building and screaming and shouting, and it's funny, your problems don't change. You're still in the same loop, and and these guys get rich off of them. And that's what blows my mind, that no one is actually,
Honestly,
no one has actually, the common man doesn't get it. Now people may say, oh, it's because, you don't believe in
but
God.
these people have
But I
destroyed
do.
the educational system. They have.
Yeah.
It's not the same educational system that we had in our father's time. You know, if you look at the universities, like
Mm.
prestigious universities like Obafemi Awolowo and Nsukka University of Nigeria,
Mm.
where they were churning out like crazy, people like PNOKK that
Mm.
wrote the what's that physics book, you know, uh,
Oh God.
new school physics. Is it new
Ababio.
school
Is it
physics?
Ababio?
Ababio.
Ababio.
Those guys, we don't produce those guys anymore.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't. We don't. The same PNOKK book I was using in my time, my
Mm.
brother was using in his time, the people before him were using in his time. Till now, you go back to
All
the
they have
people
is revised standards.
revised standard. Revised standard means, oh, we just read
we
it and
changed a
just
few
okay,
words and
and we put a new
cover,
cover,
new cover.
put it in style, and the educational system has crashed. It has failed. Even look at the north of Nigeria, where you
Mm.
have like so many kids not going to school. How do you then try to, education is the only way to break out. Like it's the only way to solve
Enlightenment.
this problem. Yeah, enlightenment.
Enlightenment.
Even Europe went through an age of enlightenment.
Mm.
You have the case even in here in Germany, where um, you had the Pope
Mm.
back then and people were taking advantage of the common Germans. So before Martin Luther came,
Mm.
not the Martin Luther King, the American guy, we're talking
Mm.
about the German Martin Luther, who came and the
Mm.
Lutheran, who started the Lutheran Church, who was
Okay.
a priest, and then he decided that they needed to translate the Bible.
Mm.
This is, I tell you, so he decided they needed to translate the Bible
From
to German,
to German.
and
Okay.
this is how print media started. It started here in Germany. This
Really?
is how they started to, yeah. This is how the whole, because he started to translate passages of the Bible in German so people can understand. Because what people were doing is, if
Mm.
you were rich enough to learn Latin at that time,
Yeah.
and you could read the Bible and everything, you could formulate whatever you wanted, and you could sell people. I remember one of the things he really fought against, they were selling people like a piece of the Bible, and says, if you have this piece of the Bible, your sins will be forgiven. It's the same method of madness that's happening in Nigeria.
Yeah.
With these pastors and priests.
Yeah.
They say, if you rub this olive oil or this anointing oil, you'll be healed. On your problems, you fast and pray and drink this, you'll be healed. And it's the same method of madness that's occurring. So we need somebody or something that was ready to give these people enlightenment and say, no, actually,
Yeah.
God says, if you help, God only help those who help themselves, mate. So you need to do something about the
You need
situation.
to make.
You're gonna be stuck
Yeah. Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a lot, and
it's a lot.
it's
It's a lot.
I am happy that
It's a
we
lot
we
to
did
unpack.
have this conversation, because I think it's something that people need to hear and at least understand the perils
Of course.
of the youth, because at the end of the day, if there's no, hopefully if people can understand more and more what's been, and I don't mean people like it's just people across the world, I mean people even back home, to really understand what's in the hearts of people, because sometimes it just seems like we just talk and talk,
Of course.
and then at the end of the day everybody goes back to what it is.
And do nothing.
Yeah.
Look at the NSAS. Look at
Mm.
Actually, I'm so proud to call myself a Nigerian youth just because of that NSAS protest. They stood their ground.
It was really
People
good.
Sacrificed
Their lives.
Nigerian youths sacrificed their lives, and the Nigerian government came out and said nobody was killed. First of all, they lied about bullets being fired.
Ridiculous.
Then they lied about live bullets being fired. They said it was dummy bullets that were fired, and then they lied about people did not die and people were injured. It was this, and then they
Terrible.
just kept on lying. And you're just like, how do you then have trust in the government to do the right thing that lies to you, that shoots protesters cold-blooded in the streets?
I know.
In the streets.
Unforgivable.
This where the citizens, the young people, apparently the leaders of tomorrow, apparently, because we're still waiting for that tomorrow to come. Because it's the same president we've had for so long. He came and he came again, and I'm sorry, but it's we cannot, I don't know whoever is listening to this podcast, we cannot continue to, like I said, we can't continue to do the same thing and expect a different result.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. It really doesn't work like that. And it's sad. And every day when I read the news about Nigeria, like I get up in the morning before work, just look, okay, what is happening in my country? This is, I don't know, if anybody else is patriotic about Nigeria. I am very patriotic about Nigeria.
Wow.
And I read and I say, what is happening in my country? And it's sad. Although I'm living a nice, privileged life, I would say. Like, I mean, I'm getting a good salary, I have a nice roof over my head. I can afford I can afford 3 square meals, I don't have to worry about whether I'm going to starve or, But then again, we kind of think,
it's funny because a lot of people would say, you had a good life, you can't complain, if
that you should not.
Why should you complain? You're having this, obviously a very good and decent life. Everything's going well for you. So, just go to your country and enjoy your life. And I think it's I think it goes to show, because if you speak to a lot of people who have actually made that step to leave the country in order to establish themselves a little bit, most of the people I talk to always have the same sentiment about Nigeria. It's that this is not the way it's supposed to be, and they're always asking themselves, what could be done, and it's there's too many problems, and I think it's a very, very, I don't think it's something that one person will be able to just completely change. I think it'll take.
It's not honestly, like for me, I think the president right now in Nigeria, he has some good policies. I remember, like looking at some of the policies he has put in place, and honestly, it made total sense. It made total sense. But then, from your statement saying that it's not one person, the problem is that it's deep rooted even into the last bit
everyone,
even into the smallest Nigerian. I can remember, I was driving in the car with my nephew in the back of the car, and then it was late at night. I think I don't know what happened, where we're coming from, but then the police stopped me. Normal road stop. Talking to me, asking me questions. I'm talking back to the police. Answering his questions, and then my nephew at the back of the car says, give him money, let's go now. I'm like,
what?
I'm like, this small kid, how old was he? About 7-8 years old.
That is crazy.
This small kid knows that the
police
modus operandi
is to bribe the police so we can move.
That is wasting each other's time.
That is so sad.
I felt so embarrassed, and I was like, I didn't even say anything to him. I was like, what'd you say to a kid? He's seen it so many times, What'd you say to him? And he just said bye to the police officer, and, it was a very weird situation. And, my nephew is about, I think 13, 14 now. And,
I would have talked to him, though. I would have talked to him about that too.
Tell him what?
Maybe just to understand that in as much as that's what's happening, that's not what it's supposed to be, But then he's 7, then I don't know.
He's 7. I mean, he's lived in Nigeria most of his life, so he's gonna only tell you the same thing. He's gonna tell you, probably if I go and drive with him and the police stops us again, he's going to repeat those exact words. As sad as it is, but yeah. So sad. I don't know. I think every Nigerian has a role to play, and we must do better.
True.
We must do better. Especially people abroad, because we know better.
That's true.
We've seen it. We've seen how societies could be formed, how societies could be destroyed, and we can see how it works here, and we can make it work.
I think it would take a combined effort for sure. It will take a combined effort. I think it's obviously the more I think, like you said, you mentioned a good comment. Because we're exposed, so we kind of
Yeah.
can see what it's supposed to be, and I think it's a situation of trying to convey the same message to those who don't have the privilege to actually, see what we're seeing. It's kind of like we're at the top of the mountain, and right, and all these other
Yeah.
people, because whether we like it or not, all the other people back home, in one way or the other, helped us to be who we are. Either working in some form or the other for
No man is
our
an island.
exactly, you know what I mean. To help things get into place, or to keep things flowing, keep the system going, to enable us to be wherever we were to get where we are. And I think it's only fair and natural for us to, it's like, when you see a group of people, they all gather around to help a kid over the fence to see what's across, and then the
Yeah.
kid sees it and then tells them what he's saying. I
So,
think
yeah.
that's where we are right now. We've finally been able to get a few of our people above that barrier to actually know what's going on the other side, and now it's time for us to convey the same message to them so they know what to do.
Honestly,
moving forward. I think
moving forward.
that's where it is right now. I It's sad what happened with NSARS. It's something that still,
Yeah.
that it
Still ongoing.
it really harms me. That
Yeah.
incident last year, and it only scares me to realize that it's a situation of that fear once again of a dictatorship coming up, and it's not obviously from one person necessarily. It could just be the government itself becoming a dictatorship, which is very scary, which is even more terrifying than a single man. So it's something that, and the only way to fight it is the people, right? The people have to understand and know that this is something that could happen, and this is the implications. So
it's I yeah, you kind of look at all these things that are happening, and just so like, for me, I don't know. I feel like I have a duty to play, and I should also go back to Nigeria, and play a role. Like, at the end of the day, yes, I understand. Someone like my father would say, "Hey, Arinze, come on, like, why?" But for me, I believe that life is what living to do something. What living for.
That's an amazing statement.
Man, I don't know. I just came up with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere I must have heard.
I've heard of something like that before, and it's an amazing statement.
But this is how I feel. Like, life is what living until you do something what living for. If not, you're just dying to live.
Yeah.
Or you're living to die.
Living to die.
Or like, so, I mean, and I don't know. I hope that me speaking to you as well has also inspired you to, because most of you, I call you guys runaways. Most of you escapees. Runaways. Escapees, like, you guys, okay, left Nigeria. Like, you hear them, I am never going back. I'm like, hey, but you need to help people. It's like, help. I've helped myself. I've helped myself.
From all that, there are people like that, and I mean, it's I keep the situation of Nigeria always haunts me. I still obviously want to make a change in some way. Make some kind of effect. I mean, I think about it every day, and I just feel like not everyone is. Everyone has a different kind of role to play. So not everyone would be in the front line and has to be, right there in the thick of things. In as much as that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants everybody to be in the front line and, taking everything. And I don't think that's always how things should be done. I think there are some people that are very good working behind the scenes. There's some people, and I'm not saying I'm either or. I'm just saying in general. There's some people who don't even want you to categorize them in any anything, but they are doing their own. They're doing their own bit.
I'm honestly, I'm proud of all the Nigerians in the diaspora, trying to do their fair share of making the country better, and I definitely try to do my own fair share, but
we can do.
I'm a more of a hands-on guy, and I feel you can never run a business outside,
Yeah.
outside where the business is located. So
True.
if you really wanted to make the change, then you gotta go there and make that change. And I think maybe when I get older and maybe when I get a bit wiser, I think it would be something I would seriously consider to come back and helping make things better for people.
I mean, yeah, it all depends on how you want to go about it, right? Some people want to go through like political means, and some people would want to go through, business means, like to bring business to the economy. That's a very huge step to take, because that puts power directly to the people, right? Instead of politics where you have to go through the top, right? You have to go through the top, right? And might require you to even sell yourself. So,
of course.
but people have different ways of going about it. So,
different ways.
Yeah, I do definitely, appreciate the fact that you're still looking out for, our home country, and it's nice to hear, because, no matter where I am, I try to not want to forget where I came from, because I think it's extremely important to me. So, yeah,
it is.
That's, I guess I'll say this is, I don't know. What would you say? It's probably a good place to stop, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a good place to stop, and yeah,
I think it's good, and I definitely believe that a lot of viewers watching, especially today's episode, can get some form of understanding of what's going back home, and maybe those back home can get maybe some form of idea or inspiration, or at least if they have their own their own comments on the situation, I'd love to hear it. We'd love to hear it. Please post your whatever whatever advice you'd like to give, or recommendations or whatever in the comments, and definitely I would look through them and learn as much as I can, because like he said, like Arinze mentioned, he's still growing wise, and we still have a long way to go. We're both young, both about the same age, so yeah, I think that's okay. Thank you so much, Arinze, for coming on.
Honestly, not a problem.
I was definitely looking forward to this today's conversation, and I'm really happy it turned out a lot better than I expected. So
I'm happy that you even gave me the opportunity to even speak on your platform about, like, obviously my experiences and what I want to do for my life. And I think the people's experience, the people in the diaspora, from whatever country you are from, I think our stories are very untold, and it's quite exciting and uplifting to have somebody like you to project us, our sufferings and what we go through, just to have a glimpse of a better life.
Yeah.
So I thank you so much for having me on here.
Thank you so much, Arinze. Or Steven.
Steven, I like Arinze better.
Yeah. All right, bro. We'll be talking as always, so we'll keep keeping in touch.
Man. Any questions, just shoot me, man.
Of course.
I'm good to answer.
All right. Take it easy, man.
All right.
Peace out.
Have a good night.
You too. Take care now. Bye.
Bye.